Broadcasting live worldwide.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Sportsnet FM Radio. Great to have in the house on Weekend Football Review on Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations, the nation's sportainment channel. With me, Francis Nagonje, the sports addict. Let me welcome Nick Mwabawa, an ardent Arsenal fan who's gone through trenches, supporting the club in thick and thin for over 2 decades. Absolutely. This is the brother who's been loyal to the club, and he's just here to offload everything Arsenal. The franchise at Arsenal Football Club in England had a way out to come down to Africa and in Zambia just to meet this Arsenal fan. Guess what? He would be getting an all-seasoned ticket to watch all the Arsenal games at Emirates Stadium.
Yeah.
Let me welcome to Weekend Football Review, Nick. Congratulations for winning the league.
Thank you so much.
After such a long time.
It's been a tedious journey, odious journey, but finally we're here. We are proud of the success. We have won the league, and that monkey thing that was hanging on us as fans is finally over, and we know that the league is in the bag. Going forward, I believe Arsenal will be the team to beat.
Right.
I'm privileged to be on Sportsnet. Thank you so much.
Share with our viewers how the last 2 decades has been for Arsenal getting close to winning the league, and it slips off Emirates Stadium.
It's been horrible. Ever since we moved to the Emirates, I can tell you that it hasn't been easy for the fans and the club, as well as the players themselves, because everybody was even saying Arsenal seems to have a monkey hanging over their heads, their shoulders. They couldn't get rid of this thing. Finally, that jinx has been broken. Arsenal now can believe that they can go out there and win things.
Right.
And we have seen Arsenal go all the way. In fact, we could have even won the Champions League, but unfortunately, everybody knows what happened on that night.
Right.
It had to go down to the penalties, and penalties can go either way. But I'm proud of my boys. The boys have made us proud. We can hang our heads high now as Arsenal fans. Finally, after a 22-year drought without a trophy in the Premier League, finally we have it.
Share with me and our viewers on Sportsnet FM what it feels like to win after such a drought.
It's absolutely massive. I feel like I'm on top of the world, because
really
this thing has been long time coming, especially in the last 3 seasons. Yes, in the last 3 seasons we've been runners up to Man City, and it's been very painful for us, and it almost looked like it was going to repeat itself. But finally that jinx was broken, because Man City wasn't just up to their levels. They kept on bottling it themselves, and they bottled it. This time, we are the champions of England. Yes.
And let's look at the last few weeks of the season ending, where Man City actually, came up full throttle on Arsenal.
Yeah.
Really wanting to grab that, bull by its horns.
Yeah.
And the world had its eyes on Arsenal.
Exactly.
Would the same thing that had happened in the past repeat itself?
I think for me as a fan, speaking from experience, when we lost that match at the Etihad, it almost brought back those memories of, there we go again. Like, the reset button had been hit, there it goes again. But fortunately, after that game, we saw Arsenal now go full throttle as well, borrowing from your word.
Right.
To really grab the bull by its horns and just go out there and win matches.
Yeah.
And when we beat Everton, the young boy Bowman came in, and we won that game. For me, I knew these boys had the mentality.
That was the moment.
Because the mentality was what was lacking in the previous seasons. We would always crack under pressure. But this time, what helped us, the mentality of the boys was just spot on.
Right.
They were ready for the fight.
I would liken that the last couple of weeks in the run-up to you guys winning the league, I would actually liken it to Usain Bolt when he was still running.
Exactly.
And they were doing relay 400 meters.
Yeah.
There was always that guy who's passing the baton,
yes.
last.
The last guy to pass the baton to him. Yeah.
And I was thinking, would Arsenal endure the same feeling that they have, the last few seasons, when they've gotten it
so close
to winning it.
That was the mentality that they needed to develop and to break that kind of mode where you are almost there but you can't get there. And everybody, I think, in the league, our rivals, including Pep and his team, they thought that thing was still going to repeat itself, because we could hear them say, we know Arsenal bottle it, Arsenal this, Arsenal that. They don't have the mentality, they don't have the age, they don't have the experience even. Because Arsenal, what people need to understand, we got a coach who had never coached anywhere before. He was just an assistant to Pep. And so the club and the hierarchy went and risked on this young man, Arteta, who was our former captain during the days of Wenger. And they threw him into the spotlight and threw him in the deep end. And he began to remodel the club. He began to rebuild the club. He began to change the philosophy of the club from the bottom up. Their diet, the training regime, the discipline of the likes of German origin, of course. He got rid of him, and there was a lot of talk. He got rid of even the other guy from there's this player that used to play as well, was one of our key linchmen. He also got rid of him, Aubameyang. When he got rid of Aubameyang, people began to doubt whether this guy was up to it. They were saying he couldn't handle big players. Because the guy was getting rid of the dead wood in the club. Getting rid of the people that were bringing bad vibes in the club. So he began to get rid of them. In other words, what I'm trying to say, he had to be very ruthless in the way he implemented his plans.
Probably that was his coaching philosophy.
Exactly.
And every coach has their own coaching philosophy.
Yes, exactly.
You might not fit into the grades of Arsene Wenger. You might be considered an underdog. For instance, you just spoke about how this guy Arteta actually was an assistant elsewhere to Pep. Of course, he worked with greats. Like Pep is a great guy.
He's a great guy.
And he was brought to a big club.
Arsenal.
Arsenal is a big franchise,
exactly.
And going by whatever experience that he garnered at Man City, he was able to build his own coaching philosophy.
Exactly. Yes.
And he was able to what does it mean to have a coach like Arteta?
Well, it's massive. We point everything, the success of the club, to this gentleman called Mikel Arteta. When he came in 2019, taking over from Unai Emery, he was an unknown on the coaching stage, on a grand stage like Arsenal, and many people doubted him. But he's a young player that was ambitious. Even during his playing times, I've heard our former coach Wenger say he was one of the guys that would be very tactical about the way the formation of the squad used to be on the ground. So he could tell this guy would make it as a coach. So he's very philosophical, but at the same time very pragmatic, practical, and wants to get the job done. Result-oriented. He wanted to build a team around defense. That was the strength of the team. Around defense and the midfield. And obviously towards the latter stages of last season, there was take of a number 9. That's how we brought in Gyökeres to come and fill in that spot. But if you realize, Arsenal plays as a unit. We don't build our team success on one player. We build it around the coordinated strength of the team is team effort. When you don't have the ball, you defend. You take your time off the front, come at the back, you pick the build from the back. They play as a unit and they are a compact team. Difficult to break down. The discipline, the character of the players, the mentality. He has brought that mentality of aggression. Our players, even our defensive players, can score. And then the issue of built around set pieces, where set pieces have become deadly for Arsenal. Arsenal can use a set piece, either a penalty, either a free kick, a corner kick. We can use those to score. And we have top players, massive players, like basketballers that can dwarf and intimidate defenders.
I love that energy.
And give them a nightmare.
Right.
And so it has been built. It's a machine.
Right.
And now it's in full mode and rolling. And teams are getting scared of us.
Wow, I just love hearing that from you. And you know, you and I have come a long way, you know, in sports, and we have done you know, sports coaching together. And if I just wanted to remind you one of the things that I learned in one of the coaching clinics that I attended with you is that they say, before a team begin to win, they need to learn how to lose.
To lose, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Punching on there.
I think it's important, and like I mentioned earlier on, that we talked about our loss at the Etihad. That was really painful, because I remember I watched it with my boys.
Right.
Everyone in the family supports Arsenal.
Wow.
I never forced them. They just love the fact that it's a brand. We are a brand.
Yeah.
We were a team, a family that supports Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
And so I went with 2 of my boys to watch that match, and it was very painful at the end because something just wasn't working on that night. Things didn't go our way.
Dots were not connected.
Dominate. Yes. People couldn't play according to plan.
Right.
I don't know whether our plan was just to defend the 1-0 or whatever. I don't know. But things didn't just glue. And that night was very painful, and it felt reminiscent of the near success syndrome that we had in the previous 2 seasons. But this particular time, I think the reset button was there to say, yes, we have dropped points, but let's pick ourselves from here. That mentality of willing to come from a defeat and go out there and begin to win and build on a 3 winning streak. 3
in a row.
Yes. That was what played into the hands of the opponent, and the opponent could see a different mentality. And that kind of also worked on them negatively, because they began to drop points as well.
Exactly.
They dropped points with Bournemouth, which was actually the thing that turned everything on its head. Such by the time we were meeting our final opponent, it was that they couldn't catch up.
And this relationship between your team, Arsenal, and Man City, exactly. I liken it to David and Goliath.
Exactly.
You know? There's this huge guy who's always intimidating the other. Season in, season out, you're losing games.
Exactly.
You eventually you find yourself in a position where you are strategizing.
Yeah.
Will I go down again this season?
Exactly.
And this is what happened to
I think for me, I take it back to the board willing to trust this young man with resources.
Right.
And bringing in a technical director, Benta. This gentleman that now would work with Arteta and look for the players that fit the philosophy of the club and what the coach was intending to achieve during the season. So they would get the kind of players he needs, and they would give him the money. And he went on the market, brought in the right players, like building the squad depth, where on every position maybe you have 4 players.
Yes.
So if anyone among the 3 is injured, somebody can step up.
Easy rotation.
Like we have Hinkapie on that, and then we have Mascara coming in there. And sometimes we have Timber, and they can switch. Sometimes they can be on the left flank or on the right flank. They can still do the job. And then towards the end, we brought in the young man, Lewis Kelly, who was playing the role of midfield, being able to be whenever we don't have Odegaard there, he could fill in the space and do the creative thing with the ball, join the spaces, break down players, give the killer passes. That was what the team wanted and needed at that time.
Yes.
And that is what pushed us over the edge.
And finally,
the creativity of the young man.
That team chemistry arrived at Arsenal, and you started to win, and that winning definitely started to translate into confidence, building confidence in the team. Who do you think were actually the biggest assets that Arsenal actually traded in the run-up to the just ended beginning of the season?
I think for me, when I look at the game overall, the season, I can say that when Odegaard got injured, it gave the creative edge for Arteta to bring in the likes of Eze. Eze came in. Yes, he would actually come in there and do his magic.
Very explosive.
He pushed us, over the edge, both in the Champions League as well as in the Premier League. He would come in there, but I think the missing jigsaw puzzle was actually arrived at when we brought in Lewis Kelly. Because Lewis Kelly brings in the aspect of being free on the ball, confidence, breaking down defenses, penetrative passes.
Right.
That, I think, for me, got us over the edge.
But what do you think? don't you think it was easy for Eberechi actually to fit in the Arsenal? Because he
had a background.
He had a background already at
in the academy.
Exactly,
that helped. He knew the philosophy of the club. He was hungry for success, coming from Palace.
Right.
And he was given a second chance to play with the team of his dream when he was a kid. I think that also gave him the impetus to want to fit in there and the mentality to win and make impact immediately. He landed at Arsenal.
Right.
Yes, at the Emirates.
And then the whole world got an opportunity to witness the streets of the world, not only in London, even in Africa here, like in West Africa, in Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, in the West. All the fans were actually clad in the red and white Arsenal regalia.
Exactly.
The biggest we saw actually was...
It's been the biggest so far in the world. There's no club that has hit the numbers that Arsenal,
over 1.5 million
on the streets of
fans.
London, It tells you a lot about this brand. It's a global brand. Arsenal is a loved team.
Right.
Imagine 22 years you don't have a trophy and you have that number of fans
coming
worldwide. Tells you that everything you need to know about this club. People love Arsenal genuinely from the heart. It's not these fake fans. A team is not doing well, you pull out. I have a number of friends who are Man U fans.
Right.
Many of them have stopped supporting the club because the club is not doing well.
Right.
For the last 14 years, they don't have a title. Just in case they forget.
Yes.
And the time is ticking.
Right.
This is 14 years.
14 years.
And I don't see them coming into play in the next 5 seasons. Because we are going to dominate the season. That I can assure you.
Must we say, if we have witnessed disciplined
fans and loyal fans. Somebody said, if you have an Arsenal husband, you cannot cheat on him.
Oh my goodness. It must have been a long wait for Arsenal.
Quite a long wait.
2
decades is not a short time.
For me, I've always said, if you needed to have patience in life, you need to be an Arsenal fan.
Exactly, You couldn't be further from the truth. I tell you, we have boundless patience. And we knew the project that Arteta has started. We could see the milestones were happening.
Right.
Because in his first season, Arsenal ended the season at number 8 on the log. The second season, number 8. The third season, number 5. Then the last 3 seasons, number 2, runners up. So the only thing that was remaining was for him to find a way to push us over that line. And he did it. And now we can believe with Pep leaving the league. Pep has left the league now.
He's left.
I cannot see any coach right now who has the mentality, who has the depth of understanding of the English game, and who knows the pressures of the English game like Arteta. Now I can tell you we're going to dominate this league.
Are you basically saying Arteta now is taking over from Pep?
Taken over from Pep because this man was the one who coached him, who trained him how to play football.
He was his mentor.
He was his mentor. And it was difficult to beat his mentor, as you can know. Everybody knows that. It's difficult.
Yes.
But finally, this season, he beat him. And the man had enough football sense to know, this boy will now embarrass me. Let me leave.
Exactly.
When people are still clapping. No wonder he left. Yes, leaving the door open for Arteta to dominate maybe the next decade.
So which other notable players on the Arsenal squad would you credit for having stayed
the course?
Having worked so hard, I
think Rice is one of them. Rice, when we got him from West Ham, at somewhere 100 million pounds, it looked like it was not worth the effort. But looking back now, he's been the engine of the team. He's the one that drives the team. And thankfully, over this season, and even the last 2 seasons he's been with us, he's not prone to injuries. That's down to a player who fits the profile of a winning mentality. Because you need a player who brings these assets to the club. He's mentally gifted, he's strategically there, he pushes the team, he's able to motivate the players and drive them forward. And this kind of a player, when he's available to the team all the time, he's a very powerful asset. He's one of them.
So you think Rice actually was a
great
return on investment?
Very great return on investment. There's no one an Arsenal fan who knows football, who believes in the project of Arteta, could have doubted the investment and the acquisition of such a player.
Of Rice.
Yes, of Rice caliber.
Right.
Obviously, even the keeper, we have a keeper that is world class. In 3 consecutive seasons, he's been winning the player, what do you call it, the goalkeeper of the season. Yeah,
I know he just won.
He just won one.
One again. Yes.
That tells you a lot about it.
Exactly.
About that. Then also the defensive pairing of Saliba and Gabriel. That formation. For me, that one is impenetrable. It has really paid off for the club to have such players of such caliber. Yes, in the team.
I know how it feels, like winning after such a long time.
Yeah.
And a club has to go through transitions,
yes.
And especially for the franchise, you get to look at what available pieces do we have going into the next season. What do we need to beef up the team?
We definitely need to beef up the team.
In what area do you think?
In the striking position. We have the likes of Havertz. I think Havertz also has been prone to injury. We also, this young man, the Saka, hasn't been firing on all cylinders. Obviously, there's been a dip there. Maybe he needs some confidence building. Maybe energy levels have been low. We don't know. But we just need to beef up there. Maybe Alvarez,
right,
or somebody of that caliber or
yes,
that profile of a player. We bring in just about 2 or so in that front line formation. Then the team can really be running. And also midfield. Maybe we may need to find the balance between creativity and attack, and a defensive midfielder, that kind of role.
Of course.
This Zubimendi has been playing.
Yes.
There's been talk of him maybe having lost energy through the season. So many games to play in different competitions. Maybe it got to him. Maybe the intensity of the Premier League, also coming from another league, he had to adapt. Maybe going forward, with adaptation coming in, him adapting to the way we play in England, that will help him, and maybe we may not even need to show up the midfield, but I feel that is where we need to midfield a bit as well as
because at the end of the day, you actually need a solid midfield.
Exactly.
Yes. For me, I feel that's where
games are decided
from the midfield.
Even the creativity.
You might have a working chemistry.
Yeah. But
if you lack a solid midfield,
then you're done.
You're done.
Yeah. In the past, that was our weakness during the Wenger days. Players, strikers of the like of the late player for Liverpool, this guy who died in a traffic accident, I forget his name. They would literally just run through the midfield of our team, and go and score at will. And you don't need that kind of a thing. And I think Arteta, having understood what was the weaknesses with that team in the latter stages of Wenger, he made sure that our midfield was solid, with the likes of Rice coming in, Zubimendi obviously, and Odegaard, the creative part. That formation for me, when it's solid, and the team has the ability to move at will as one unit, draw back as one unit, defend, and be able to create and impress on their opponents, that striking potential that Arsenal has.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Great to have this Arsenal fan in the house. You can see the energy. You can just see how he's firing from all angles. It's all systems on this Arsenal fan. It tells you, what it means to win a league after such a long time. I'll be right back after this break on this weekend's football review. I'm hosting Nick Mwabawa, an Arsenal fan in the house. Looking for anything and everything sport? We have it all at Sportsnet. We stock all types of sports equipment, sportswear and sports accessories. We have soccer boots, sneakers, jerseys for all team sports, shin guards, whistles, pressure pumps, goalkeeper gloves, ball carriers, tracksuits, stopwatches, and trophies, to name just a few. We also stock chess mats, table tennis, and badminton equipment. For your original and genuine sports product, Sportsnet is your reliable home for all your sporting requirements. Visit our shop at number 264, Jola Mwanza Market off Independence Avenue in Monza. For all your sales, orders, and inquiries, call on 0955 010 010 or 0975 006364. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 0960 61 3737 or an email to sportsnetzmb@gmail.com for original and genuine products. Experience the sporting difference. Sportsnet, the name in the game. Welcome back to Weekend Football Review on Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations, with me, Francis Nagonje, the sports addict. I would like us quickly just to look at how Arsenal is actually
global brand.
It's a global brand,
yes.
Of course. This influence that the English Premier League has on its global fans. I mean, how can we start to develop such influence using football actually as a tool for national development in countries like ours, right. Zambia?
Thank you. I think sport is one of the influencing tools to develop nations, just like entertainment, Hollywood, politics, education. These are the levers that we can use to develop communities and nations. I have a background in sports with Campus Crusade for Christ, using AI, Athletes in Action. We trained how to build winning teams, how to build teams that coordinate together, that work together towards a goal. I think sports, for me, this global brand of the Premier League, we can learn a lot of things from there. We use it as a template, how we can develop our own sports infrastructure. It starts with infrastructure.
Right.
It starts with a vision. We need to have a global vision of how we can build teams that can win.
Ground up.
So we need infrastructure. We need budgets. We need money to be poured into sports infrastructure, into tools that we use, training facilities, coaching, paying people on time, and do everything that we need to do. We have to develop a winning mentality. We have to invest greatly into sports.
Right.
If we don't put in investment, we can't expect to take out something we're not invested.
Yes.
So we can learn that template. We see winning teams. You know, they release the owners of the clubs, they release monies, millions of monies, pour it into the club, give this team, the coaching staff, a vision, or they give the vision to the board gives them the structure, the benchmarks, what they need. You give the person what they need in terms of money so they can go on the market and buy the kind of players they need. That is the template that the Premier League is using. They go to sponsors who come on board, broadcasting right, they come on board. It's a whole network. The whole system is built around success.
Right.
The success of the brand. When you're successful, advertisers come on board. People with money come on board.
They are willing
to jump on the bandwagon.
Everyone wants to work with the champion.
So once we work on the mentality to win, and we put infrastructure around winning, and we put our money there, I believe Zambia can develop, because sports has a huge following.
Right.
Global audience. And sports can be used as a tool to unify people, to bring people together, to promote harmony and love and peace building around sports. Right. It's a great tool that we can use.
Great.
Yes.
To hear that. Are you, in short, saying probably what is not working with our sport here has to do with systems, structures, investment, or is it something to do with sustaining the systems and on all the plans that we put in place?
I think the systems are there. What we need is to have people who are running sports with a vision, and that vision must be global. We must be able to create linkages between the Zambian sports fraternity or the FARS with the Premier League. We can have a liaison officer there, a linkage, to learn how those systems work there, and then tailor them to our own specific needs and adapt them to our own local environment.
Right.
But obviously, when you talk of sports, we need a lot of investment in sports. Meaning our FARS has to be able to create linkages with the marketplace, with people who have money,
exactly,
who love sports, and bring them on board. Let them also bring on their own creativity there, so that it's not just FARS on the one end dictating everything. somebody who gives you money must have an interest in what the product must be, the desired aim of that product.
Yes.
So we need to create those linkages where we create a platform where we get creativity from anyone who has vested interest, so that everyone who has a stake in the sport can bring insight there at the planning level. Once things are planned, you augment a plan that is now national in character. Then you begin to identify the players with talent. Meaning, you have to have scouts that go into the provinces. Look at the provinces. You have liaison officers on the ground who can identify players in the districts. And you scale it up to the national level. That's what used to happen in the old days. That's why we developed players like Kampela Katumba.
Right.
From the grassroots. Those were football stars at the secondary level. And we built that system all the way to the top. And Zambia began to tick. Yes. That's what we need.
So, do you think when it comes to sport, the problem actually is not at planning? Because you and I, you agree with me to say there's a lot of planning that goes on.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot, year in, year out. There are meetings called for planning, you know. So, do you think the problem is execution?
Execution as well as leadership. You know, Maxwell said everything rises and falls on leadership. John Maxwell is a leadership coach, internationally acclaimed. So if the leadership does not know what they're doing, they may have the money, you can throw the money at them. It's not a thing of throwing money at someone. An example from the Premier League, we know Chelsea spent billions purchasing players, but where are Chelsea? They ended number 10 on the law with all the billions. So it's not just throwing money at someone. It's throwing money with a purpose, and a plan, exactly. So that you create an alignment or a linkage between the leadership and the people that are sponsoring. They align, their values align, and the leadership builds into that, and they pass on that into the players. Once the players know exactly what is required of them, the players even change their philosophy on the club, and they begin to produce exactly what the leadership puts in them. Right. But if they don't, there's no creativity, there's no connection between the players and the leadership.
Right.
And there's a vacuum here. Then you have difficulty, even if you have money, even if you have infrastructure. South Africa is one example. South Africa does not lag behind in infrastructure. And yet they are not performing. What is the problem? You can find it always between the leadership and the people that are supposed to execute. There's a gap here. There's a gap, yes.
The World Cup just kicked off.
Exactly, yesterday.
Last night,
yes.
You know, the biggest ever in the history of FIFA World Cups.
Exactly.
FIFA, for the first time in its history, is hosting the World Cup.
On 3 continents.
Three countries. US, Mexico, and Canada. Have you had a chance to watch any of yesterday's game?
Yesterday we watched it with my son, the first match between Mexico and South Africa. It was a very powerful, advertising for sports. The stadium was full to capacity. The passion, it was electric. I watched the game, but obviously South Africa didn't show up. South Africa didn't have a game plan. South Africa was all over the place, creating fouls, incurred 2 red cards, and they were down to 9 men against a world fancied kind of players of international caliber that just tore them apart. And it could have even been 5-0 because the way South Africa was defending, their game plan was not there. They were just in shambles.
Right.
So they didn't really do themselves a great deal of blessing in terms of the way they were playing.
Scroll through social media yesterday, last night, after the game. Talk of our own country, the motherland, Africa, you would get a feeling that, the entire continent other than South Africa was behind Mexico.
Exactly. I think there were things outside of the pitch that affected the performance. Because obviously the support of the continent does wonders to teams that come from Africa. Right. Because you feel the energy of the entire continent behind you.
Right.
And this was lacking because of the xenophobic attacks that have been happening in South Africa, where South Africans have been very hostile towards their fellow black brothers on the continent, and so they are paying them back that favor in terms of boycotting, supporting
the support,
and the
withdrawing the support.
The goalkeeper of the team actually mentioned it, Fredericks. he said that we could feel that the continent is not with us, and that plays on their mind, psychologically. They knew the continent is not with them. They are on their own.
That's very sad.
And that is something the government of South Africa needs to take into account and really begin to develop a philosophy that, you know, goes out of the way to reach out to other fellow African brothers. Union. Because Africa is the main reason why South Africa prevailed.
Exactly. With
apartheid. Because there was solidarity.
Exactly.
There was financing. There was homage where we kept them here.
Exactly.
We took care of them. And now, in our time of need, when African brothers go back there to earn a living, honestly, the South African brothers now turn on their own.
In the court.
Yeah, in the court. So everybody also did the same to them yesterday.
I mean, African Union actually, a few days before the kickoff, actually sent a solidarity message to all the 10 countries, African countries representing Africa.
Exactly.
I mean, you would expect that African Union definitely would take keen interest to start to address some of these issues.
Yes,
and especially that football is a global sport
of great influence
that can be used actually
as a tool to unify.
Exactly. In the past, actually, we know how sport has been used. Actually, sport actually has the power to bridge that divide.
Remember what happened in Ivory Coast? There was a civil war there.
Right.
And Drogba made an appeal on national television for the guys who were opposing sides to lay down their arms. And they did. Because of the profile of the player who was appealing for peace.
Exactly.
And it can be used as a tool to unify the continent.
And again, speaking of that, I mean, you would expect that the same can be applied. I mean, we read in the media how an international referee was actually denied entry
into the US.
At the time when the world is actually divided.
Yes, divided.
And you would expect that someone else definitely would use
that platform,
an event
to unify the world. Yeah, it's a pity. It was actually a great pity to see the US and the president there and the establishment coming out that way, because this man is a top-notch ref of the highest caliber. For him to have been selected to go and officiate in the World Cup, it means he met the grade. So I don't see why things unrelated to football were used to vet him out. That was so unfortunate. Really. Everyone has cried foul about that. And we really felt that it was really down to probably his race, because he's African and coming from Somalia.
But at the end of the day, they say, you know, when you lock up a slave, you make him a king.
Exactly.
See what has become of Omar Hassan right now.
In fact, when he went back home, he was received by the whole nation.
Heroes.
A thunderous welcome was accorded to him, because they could tell a great injustice was done towards him. And other countries, even UEFA, is going to now
be given an opportunity.
Yes, he's going to actually officiate the Super Cup between the winners of the Champions League and the Europa League, which is Aston Villa and PSG. What a great honor. They've seen the guy has a talent.
Right.
Yes, and anyone who has talent in sports should be given an opportunity.
Right.
We shouldn't use things unrelated to sports to vet out somebody and not give them an opportunity to perform.
To prove themselves.
That was very wrong.
Yesterday's open match in record history in FIFA was actually the first to record 3 red cards. I must bring this to attention that, you know, when I actually read that and I saw it for myself, I was almost concluding that probably the referees at this year's World Cup, they are not here to joke.
They are not joking.
Compared to what we witnessed
in the past, yes.
At AFCON.
Yeah, AFCON, yes.
Yes.
You're right.
You know.
No, the standards, they want to raise them of discipline. They want to instill discipline, because sports is about discipline.
Right.
Somebody has to be disciplined.
Exactly.
Somebody has to be collected. Somebody has to be calm and measured in the way they approach their opponent.
Right.
Because sports is entertainment.
Fair play.
It's not willing to kill somebody or hurt somebody or injure somebody. So when you are approaching your opponent, the idea is to keep it civil, keep it sportsmanship. And when you cross that line, obviously the referees have been told they have to execute.
You can't go beyond
and give somebody a red card if he doesn't play according to the rules.
Right.
It's a rule-based sport.
Yeah,
they have to play by the rules.
Today actually is just game 2.
Yeah.
Looking at firstly, before we wind up, I want us just to look at the 10 teams, the 10 nations actually representing
the continent.
Yeah. Which one do you think will get close even to the last 4?
I think Morocco for me will get there. Morocco has been building slowly, and also Senegal. Senegal also obviously they won the AFCON, even though they wanted to withdraw from them.
You're right.
From them because of other things unrelated to football outside the pitch.
Right.
So I see obviously the likes of Senegal and Morocco reaching probably into the quarters.
The quarters.
Yeah, of the tournament.
Of course, we expect that Senegal is going to, rise to the occasion, and of course, prove that the AFCON they won wasn't a fluke.
Yes.
Yeah, they want this time around definitely. Senegal would want to prove that at an global level to say they can perform.
They've got the talent.
They've got the talent. They're capable of delivering
at the highest level.
At the highest level, of course. We're winding down.
Yeah.
What is your prediction of the last two?
The last two.
In the last two teams
that will
play
in the
finals.
Okay, that one is a tough one, but I think for me, having looked at the profiles of the teams, I see France as one of the players in the last two.
A few reasons why France.
France has been a team that has been building momentum with the likes of Dembele, Osman, having won the Ballon d'Or and won the Champions League against Arsenal. So they've got the tools, the firepower, they've got the players, they've got the mentality, and they were at the last finals against Argentina.
Right.
So I see them right there, and possibly I see England there in the last four. But you said two.
Yeah.
But again, I favor Arsenal, and I would like to see England. There. So England and France.
So from the Arsenal squad.
Yeah.
How many players has Arsenal actually sent to the World Cup?
I think close to six.
6.
We have Mwabawa, if I remember. We have Eze. We have Rice. We have who else is there? Who else is there? Let's see. I think Saka also there.
Right.
So close to 5 players.
5 players.
Yeah.
Which is not bad.
Well,
it's not bad for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Okay.
Yes. And with the firepower, the
right
vibe
now,
going on,
the guys are headed to the exactly. They're headed to the World Cup. They've gone to the world. Very motivated.
Very motivated.
Exactly, having won
the
Premier League
and reached the finals.
And reached the finals. Of course, there's always that motivation that every of your team mates.
Whenever you win, winning,
looking at you.
Winning gives you a streak above those who have never tested it.
Right.
And so even as they go into this World Cup, they are taking that winning mentality
with them
and imprint it on the other players.
Exactly.
And they lead by example.
They want
got the energy, they felt what it means to win.
To win,
be on top. So why would England today go for it? Because the last time they won it is 1966. And they've come too close other tournaments. This could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Arsenal trick coming in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite to win it?
It's a tough one. Like I said, I think France for me this time will win it.
There you have it.
Yeah.
On this weekend football edition, I was hosting Nick Mwabawa.
Yes.
A proud Arsenal fan. You heard for yourself. Very explosive, full of energy, very happy, for Arsenal, to win this season's English Premier League after having come so close the last few seasons, and looking forward, of course, to a more renewed Arsenal squad going into the 2026-2027 English Premier League. And hopefully that, Arsenal is going to
dominate.
Sad that you couldn't win
we'll win it next season.
The Champions League.
We'll win it.
You are so close.
We have young players. I think we'll get there one of these days. Again, it should be one of those things we should push forward and get over the line.
Brother Nick,
thank you so much.
It was great to have you on Weekend Football Review.
Thank you so much.
I had a wonderful time.
Same.
And hopefully, I know our viewers will love it.
Yeah.
Until next time, this has been Francis Nagonje on Weekend Football Review on Sportsnet FM Radio, Zambia's home for African sports conversations. The Nation Sportainment channel is bye-bye.
Peace.
Looking for anything and everything sport? We have it all at Sportsnet. We stock all types of sports equipment, sportswear and sports accessories. We have soccer boots, sneakers, jerseys for all team sports, shin guards, whistles, pressure pumps, goalkeeper gloves, ball carriers, tracksuits, stopwatches, and trophies, to name just a few. We also stock chess mats, table tennis, and badminton equipment. For your original and genuine sports product, Sportsnet is your reliable home for all your sporting requirements. Visit our shop at number 264 Jola Mwanza Market off Independence Avenue in Monza. For all your sales, orders, and inquiries, call on 0955 010 010 or 0975 006364. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 0960 61 3737 or an email to sportsnetzmb@gmail.com for original and genuine products. Experience the sporting difference. Sportsnet, the name in the game.
Broadcasting live worldwide.